Welcome back to Wisdom Unveiled. Today, we are digging into something truly special, something you almost never get to see, a personal, private look into the spiritual life of the great philosopher Al-Farabi. All right, before we really jump in, just a quick reminder. This is a translation based on conversations with Iranian philosophers, so some nuances might not come through perfectly. We apologize for any discrepancies. So, in our last explainer, we talked all about Farabi's ideal city of wisdom, and we saw that the whole thing hinges on the leader's inner sincerity, or sidq. But that left us hanging with a really big question. What does that kind of sincerity actually sound like? What does it feel like from the inside?
Okay, so for our first section, we're going to pivot. We're moving away from the political blueprint of the city and zooming in on the internal source of its leader's integrity. We're going to listen for that sincere voice.
And this is a really important shift in perspective. We're going from Farabi, the political theorist, the guy who designs systems, to Farabi, the devout individual. And it's in this very personal space that we're going to find our answer. Which brings us right into section 2 and to the heart of what we're looking at today, a prayer written by Farabi himself. This isn't a theory. This is a raw, direct expression of his most fundamental beliefs.
You know, you really have to appreciate how unique this is. We have tons of complex philosophical arguments from thinkers like him, but a personal prayer from a master of logic? That's like finding a hidden diary. It's an incredibly intimate window into his soul.
And just listen to how he begins. He's not using the usual words you might expect in a prayer. He's addressing the divine using the very language of his philosophy. Necessary existent. That's a being whose existence is self-evident, the bedrock of reality. Cause of causes. That's the primary mover, the source of all action. These aren't just fancy titles. They're incredibly precise, logical definitions. So what is he doing here? Well, in section 3, we see that Farabi is doing something really radical. He's taking the technical, rigorous language of reason and metaphysics and making it his language of devotion. This comparison here makes it so clear. On the left, you've got these beautiful, traditional phrases that speak to the heart. And on the right, you have Farabi's philosophical terms. For him, calling God the necessary existent isn't cold or detached. For a philosopher, that's the most accurate, the most honest, and therefore the most sincere way to address ultimate reality. So how does he connect these worlds of logic and spirit? Well, for section 4, we need to understand a core concept of his, something we can call his triangle of truth. It's the key to seeing how it all fits together. It's a beautifully simple idea. Logic is the pursuit of what is correct. Ethics and politics are the search for what is good. And art, along with prayer, is the quest for what is beautiful. But here's the crucial part. For Farabi, these are not separate, unrelated paths. They are all pointing to the exact same destination. Correctness, goodness, and beauty are just 3 different faces of one single, ultimate truth. So you see, his philosophical prayer isn't some weird departure from his logic. It's the most beautiful and sincere expression of it. This whole idea of a sincere expression, well, it leads us to a much deeper question in section 5. What is the real power of language? Specifically, how can something like a prayer let us transcend our own human limits?
I mean, seriously, think about it. We are creatures of time. We live our lives second by second. So how is it even possible for us to talk about, let alone to, a reality that exists outside of time altogether?
The answer lies in language at its absolute purest. See, most of our day-to-day talk is about getting things done, about our worldly interests. But in a moment of true prayer, language becomes something else. It's a moment of sincere, selfless communication. And in that moment of purity, our words can actually become a bridge between our world, bound by time, and the eternal. So if you're a philosopher who has built this incredible bridge, what do you ask for? What's the ultimate goal? In our final section, section 6, we get to the climax of Farabi's prayer, and we see what a seeker of truth really wants. He doesn't ask for riches or power. He asks for one thing: protection from error. And here's the key insight for Farabi. An error in your thinking is so much more dangerous than an error in your actions. Why? Because a wrong action can be fixed. It's temporary. But a flawed idea, a wrong way of thinking, that can corrupt your entire life and even mislead everyone around you.
And this reveals the entire purpose of his prayer. It's not a transaction. He's not trying to get something. It's about transformation. He's trying to align himself completely with that ultimate truth.
And then comes the final line, the ultimate request. It's absolutely stunning. Make my desire that which you desire. That's it. That is the peak of sincerity, the total willing alignment of the individual will with the divine will.
And so that brings the whole thing right back to us. If Farabi is right, if true sincerity is about this perfect alignment of our will with a higher truth, well, it leaves us with a pretty challenging thought to end on, doesn't it? What are the desires, the ambitions, the stubborn ideas that we are holding on to that might just be standing in the way?